Hello. Yes, I am stealing this video idea from Canadian Stud Muffin, but he told me I could. He did this video where he just picked 30 albums he loved from his collection and had them face off in head-to-head challenges, battles, and he said we all could do it and put the link in his comment section. So I'm going to do it. And I also saw that he recently did like a ranking based totally on album artwork. So I'm probably going to steal that idea too, even though he didn't give me permission to do that. So uh, deal with it, Larry. All right. All right. So let's see. So I have selected 30 albums from my list. Unfortunately, Larry had CDs, so they were small. I have vinyl, so I'm going to have to fit two vinyl albums in the frame with my gigantic fucking face. But yeah, these are these have been randomized as much as possible. It's hard with vinyl because it's kind of big, but I kind of moved them around in my hands and looked up at the ceiling, so we should be good to go. All right, 30 records, starting with "Teens of Denial" by Car Seat Headrest versus "Cord and Spark" by Joni Mitchell. This is really hard actually because these are radically different albums. I enjoy them both very much. Joni was more of a recent kind of discovery for me. I've been enjoying this Car Seat Headrest record for significantly longer. But ultimately, I think I have to go with Joni here. Like the first time I heard this record, it really just completely blew me away and became just one of my favorite albums of all time. So I'm going Joni. I'm going Joni. I have to find a place to put all the things. Okay, that's gonna go like that, and that'll go like that. Okay. All right. So Larry had Bat Chain Puller in his ranking. Well, Shiny Beast Bat Chain Puller, because there's a separate Bat Chain Puller that's just Bat Chain Puller. But I have my favorite Beef Fart in here, which is Clear Spot, and it is going up against Alligator by the National. And as much as I love this Beef Fart record, this is once again one of my favorite albums ever, Alligator by the National. So that has to win. Sorry, Beef Fart. All right. So now we've got the most recent Nick Cave album, which I think is one of his very best he's ever made, one of his most emotionally powerful records ever, Wild God. And that is going up against one of my favorite Bob Dylan records, Oh Mercy. Once again, really hard choice. I would say that Wild God I find more emotionally impactful, more powerful than Oh Mercy. But yeah, there's just something about the vibe of this particular Bob Dylan record, recorded by Daniel Lanois in the incredible city of New Orleans, and it's just a very special record to me. No other record sounds quite like this, so got to go with Bob. All right. Oh shit! I put two Bobs in here. That's unacceptable. Okay, it's okay. It's okay. I had a backup. I had a backup. All right, so we're doing "Late for the Sky" versus Scott Walker the Drift. "Late for the Sky" by Jackson Browne. Um, so this is tricky. I feel like I'm saying that every time, but this is because these are radically different records. This is like just a really beautiful singer songwriter record, and this is a crazy record made by a crazy person. And they both definitely have different strengths, both representing different moods I might be in at a given time. But I gotta go. I gotta go Jackson Browne here. The largely for "Late for the Sky." That scene in Taxi Driver with "Late for the Sky" maybe my favorite usage of a song in any movie ever. Also like "Before the Deluge" and "Fountain of Sorrow." Yeah, gotta go Jackson Browne. All right, so this is one that Larry and I had in common. Uh, Elvis Costello, King of America. This is the this is like the deluxe edition. Well, I guess this is like a live album of it. I have the normal one somewhere. Fuck it. Okay, so King of America, just pretend this is normal King of America, versus the Smiths, The Queen is Dead. Now, it feels really bad to do this, but, once again, I've loved the Smiths record for a long time. It's, almost a perfect record, with the title track, I Know It's Over, Big Mouth Strikes Again, There's a Light That Never Goes Out, but I've just recently come to really love this Elvis Costello record. Dived him fairly recently, and this one and Imperial Bedroom were the ones that really spoke to me. So, I think I got to go with King of America here. All right. This fucking sucks. All right, we've got my weird favorite Mountain Goats record, The Coroner's Gambit, versus fucking Pet Sounds. That's another one me and Larry have in common. And this is a bummer because, I love the Mountain Goats. I really do. I've recently become just a huge fan of theirs. But is fucking Pet Sounds. All right. Now we've got my favorite band, Guided by Voices, and one of my favorite albums ever, Z by My Morning Jacket. And it seems, I don't know. I mean, Guided by Voices really are, they're my favorite band, but this record is just so special, so like singular and unique. But this is the one I feel the worst about so far. But I think I got to go with Guided by Voices. I feel terrible about that one. All right, Lamb Chop Is a Woman versus Songs of Pain by Daniel Johnston. This is tricky. I mean, I think, I prefer Daniel Johnston as a songwriter, but just for like a listening experience, this is a really just relaxing and immersive record. So I feel bad once again, but I think I got to go Lamb Chop. All right. Oh, another super painful one. Okay, we have Double Fantasy by John Lennon and Yoko Ono and Astral Weeks by Van Morrison. So this is my favorite John Lennon record versus my favorite Van Morrison record. And this is almost an impossible choice for me. Like, the Lennon songs on this album are just otherworldly, especially like watching The Wheels. I just find like that's such a moving song. Astral Weeks is a stronger overall album experience, but I just feel such a deep personal attachment to this record. I didn't expect Astral Weeks to go out first round, but I think I got to keep Double Fantasy. All right, now we got Rocky Erickson, The Evil One, versus Magical Mystery Tour. And, Magical Mystery Tour, one of my absolute favorite Beatles records. My favorite is the White Album, but I think that's downstairs in the basement of Doom. Pretty soon I'm going to go like spelunking in my basement and find all the vinyl down there, and we'll do a video about that. Whatever I find, whatever horrifying things I unearth down there. But, as hard as it is to have the Beatles leave this competition, I just feel a stronger personal attachment to The Evil One. So we're going to have to go with that. Okay, next up we got Jonathan Richman, Back in Your Life, versus A Ghost is Born by Wilco. And this is another example, kind of like the Daniel Johnston example, where I love Jonathan Richman as a songwriter, and I love this record, pretty much equally with a bunch of his other records. But as an overall album experience, I gotta go Wilco. All right. This is awful. So we got OK Computer by Radiohead versus Reckoning by REM. And OK Computer is obviously like a stunningly good album, incredibly good album, one of the best albums ever made. But REM is just an incredibly important band to me. And Reckoning is quite possibly my favorite record of theirs. You know, it goes back and forth between Reckoning and New Adventures and Hi-Fi, depending on kind of what mood I'm in. And I almost, picked, I was trying to choose between the two for this elimination, but Reckoning has to win, I think. All right, then we've got Neutral Milk Hotel in the Aeroplane Over the Sea versus Zuma by Neil Young. And I know you're going to be shocked to hear me say this, but this is a hard choice. I mean, Zuma just has, for Cortez the Killer alone, and it's just, it's a wonderful album from front to back. Neutral Milk Hotel, though, this In the Aeroplane Over the Sea, I mean, this sounds like no other album ever made. I think it's a very special record. But I don't know, the highs on Zuma are just so high. Yeah, I'm going with my gut. I'm going with Zuma. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Jeff. Man gum. All right. All right. Now we've got Brian Wilson's last great record, That Lucky Old Sun, versus Prince, 1999. Now, if I had Brian Wilson present Smile on vinyl, this might be a different story. But I love this album. It's only become a more emotional listening experience for me since Brian's passing. But 1999 has become a hugely important record to me recently. I've just listened to it a lot more in recent months, and it, kind of made a huge impact on me in the way I listen to music, I think. So, got to go 1999. Okay, and the final matchup of our first round is yet another terrible matchup. It is Graceland by Paul Simon versus Carrie and Lowell by Sufjan Stevens. And Paul Simon, one of my absolute favorite songwriters. This is my favorite album of his, including his work in Simon and Garfunkel. But I think Carrie and Lowell is just too heartbreaking and powerful to not win that matchup. All right, so now I'm going to shuffle these again, and we will move into... All right, so now we are moving on to round two of this horribly painful process. Why did you come up with this idea, Larry? What's wrong with you? All right, but, we have 15 albums here, and 15 is not an even number. It's the same problem that Larry ran into. So I had to pick an album at random to remove from the running, and unfortunately that was Isolation Drills by Guided by Voices, which is maybe for the best, because they are my favorite band, so it's kind of hard to judge this record against other records. All right, so let's get into it. We've got Double Fantasy versus Oh Mercy. I know I've never said this before, but this is an incredibly hard decision. But I don't know. I mean, there are few albums that give me the warm fuzzies like Double Fantasy, so I feel bad about it, but Double Fantasy moves on. All right, Pet Sounds versus Carrie and Lowell. I feel so bad. I absolutely love this record, but I gotta go Beach Boys. Sorry, Sufjan. This is another one that's pretty straightforward for me, as much as I love this Lamb Chop record and Nixon, and this is what I was trying to tell you, or whatever the fuck that album is called. Yeah, it's got to be Alligator. All right, King of America. Once again, this is the normal King of America. This is not some weird live record store day album. I know I have King of America somewhere. All right, King of America versus 1999. It's got to be 1999. I just have too much of an attachment to that record right now. I feel bad. And I feel really bad about this one because Rocky Erickson, the Evil one of my absolute favorite albums ever made. But I'm just like so fucking, I don't know, just how I feel right now in my heart of hearts. I feel like it's got to be Cord and Spark. All right. So now we've got Wilco versus Late for the Sky, and it's got to be Wilco. The vibe on this album is crazy. It's easily my favorite Wilco album, and I remember reading Jeff Tweedy's autobiography, and he was talking about how he was in like the worst place of his entire life when he was making Ghost is Born, and it made me feel bad for loving it so much, but I can't help it. And finally, Zuma versus Reckoning. Once again, another pretty easy choice. As much as I love Zuma, one of my favorite bands, one of my absolute favorite records, it's got to be REM. Okay, so Larry stopped there, but so I got to pick another one at random to just be eliminated forever. So I'm just closing my eyes, and whichever one is on top is gone forever. All right, what do we got? Oh, Double Fantasy. Oh no, that's sad. I'm sad. Okay, that's fine. We will move on in time. Okay, so what do we got now? We got Reckoning versus Alligator. Probably both top 20 albums for me. We're going Reckoning. We got Pet Sounds versus Ghost is Born. Sorry, Wilco. And we have Cord and Spark versus 1999. Got to be 1999. All right, and now we must pick one at random to eliminate so that we can have a final matchup. This part of the process is unfortunate and unfair. We need to pick a way to get around these odd numbers later. We need to refine this process. Okay, like I'm not saying your process is flawed, but your process is flawed. Okay, and the album that we are unfairly eliminating is Pet Sounds. Which maybe it's for the best. This is like, such a perfect and monumental album that it's hard to put it up against anything else and be fair. Though I guess, if it is the best, if it wins, that is fair. Why did you do it this way, Larry? The idea needs refinement. We're gonna work on this idea. We're gonna workshop it. We're gonna figure this out. Okay. But right now, our final matchup is 1999 versus Reckoning, and my choice is it's Reckoning. It's REM. Just a magical record. Would it have beaten Pet Sounds? Yeah, I think it would have. I am happy with this as my overall winner. So, thank you for letting me steal this idea, Larry. I probably would have done it even if you hadn't given me permission to do so. But the fact that you did makes me feel slightly better about myself. And look out soon for all of the other cool ideas that I am going to steal from you and not give you credit in the future and pretend they're mine and use them to gain power and influence. Okay.